This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
So we have a great zchus to be here at the Kever of the Rebbe of Zusha. Rebbe Zusha of Anapoli, some call him Rebbe Zusel, who lived from 1718 to the year 1800. Now the Rebbe of Zusha did not write Svarim, and they originally published his thoughts in a sefer Menorahs Hazahav. But just this past Shabbos, my dear friend Rebbe Rafal mentioned to me, they came out with a sefer Torah's Haramaz. So I'm thinking, Ramaz is Ramash's good. They said, no, Ramaz is the Rebbe Shalom Zusha. I said, oh, very nice. Shabbos by Mincha, I'm standing by the shelf. I turn around, I pull out a sefer, Torah's Haramaz. I'd never even heard of it until before, and I pulled it out, Torah's Haramaz. So he says a beautiful word from Rebbe Zusha. Rebbe Zusha would say, when you go to a Tzion, it's a makam of Yeshua. The remez is, Yivarechecha Hashem Mitzion. The Yivon Hashem sends bracha Mitzion. So this morning when I was davening, I said maybe that's one of the meanings. Yishlach Ezrecha Mikodesh Umitzion Yisadeka. So the Rebbe of Zusha was a Talmud again of the third generation of Hasidim, a Talmud of the Magid, together with Reb Nachum of Chernobyl, Reb Levi Yitzchak Barditchev, Reb Shneir Zalman of Liadi, Reb Nachum Mendel of Vitebsk, and his yard site is Beis Shvat, and his parents were both Yisayimim. And their parents were both Tamid Chachamim, but because they grew up Yisayimim, they grew up to be sort of simple Pasha to Yidden. They were not educated as Tamid Chachamim. But they wanted their children to grow up to be Tamid Chachamim. And Rav Zusha's father was a water carrier, and he had a lot of rich clients. But he exchanged his rich clients to be able to draw water for the shuls and for Tamid Chachamim as a zechus that he should be zocheh to have children who are Tamid Chachamim. And when the children were growing up, he wasn't really seeing the results that he wanted. They were very weak, they were very shvach physically. And he was mispalel, until finally on his own, his children wanted to learn. It's very interesting. When Reb Zusha would learn Torah, he would learn with the Parish of Rashi. Whenever he would come across a Rashi he didn't understand, he would boiche the mois, just to understand the meaning of the Rashi. So I want to tell you an amazing insight from the Rebbe of Zusha that's quoted in a kuntras of the Nesiva Shalom. The Nesiva Shalom wrote a kuntras about the Holocaust, where he deals with many perplexing and profound issues related to the Holocaust. And the one that's most troublesome to the Nesiva Shalom is really, what was the purpose of the Holocaust? What did the death of all these martyrs accomplish? Because the Nesiva Shalom says it in a way which maybe is hard to swallow, because we're used to thinking that somebody who's killed as a Yid automatically died al Kiddush Hashem. Wie steht, just because somebody's killed, Kiddush Hashem is a mitzvah. Let's say a person is sleeping, and while he's sleeping, they put matzah down his throat and he didn't even know. Mekayim a mitzvah? Of course you're not Mekayim a mitzvah. You have to have some level of das to be Mekayim a mitzvah. Someone who doesn't know they're a Yid, someone who doesn't know what Kiddush Hashem is, someone who didn't want to die, and it was against their will and was killed, so automatically they're Mekadeshim Shemayim. What's the Kiddush Hashem? Maybe they were even killed from behind and they weren't even aware they were being killed. There's no Yediyah, it's like Misasek. So the Nesiva Shalom is troubled. What did these Kedoshim, or were they even Kedoshim? What benefit did the Rebbe Shalom have out of it? Did the world have out of it? So he quotes an amazing idea from the Rebbe of Zusha, Pshat in a Toisvis in Chulin Adav Zayin. The Gemara says like this. The Gemara says in Chulin, Yisrael Kedoshim Hein, all Yidden are holy. Yesh roitze ve'ein lai. Some Yidden, they want to give tzedakah, but they don't have the resources, so they can't give. Ve'yesh yesh lai, and some Yidden have ve'ein roitze, and they don't want to give the tzedakah. You have two kinds of Yidden, but all are holy. You have some who want to give, but can't. So that Yid, I understand why he's a Kadosh. He wants to do a mitzvah, but he can't do it. But then the Gemara says, there are those who have, and they don't want to do the mitzvah. So how are they a Kadosh? So Tosfos says, Ikri Kedoshim, because even though they have and they don't want to, they do it anyway, since everybody else is doing it, they give the money out of Busha. So the Nesivos Shalom asks, this Yid has money, he doesn't want to do it, he's only doing it out of embarrassment, and he's called a Kadosh. How's he a Kadosh? He's giving the tzedakah kicking and screaming. He's thinking to himself, I wish I didn't have to do it. So why would the Gemara call him a Kadosh? Says the Rebbe of Zusha, this Tosis is a big yisoid in understanding Klal Yisrael. We said this morning that Klal Yisrael is Chativa Achas. We're one unit. We're one entity. You have different types of Yidden who have different roles. Some Yidden do the guf of a mitzvah, and some provide the neshama of the mitzvah. No Yid alone, standing by himself, said, I'm a Kadosh. I can't say I'm a Kadosh. No Yachid could say they're a Kadosh. Some Yidden provide the guf of the mitzvah, other Yidden provide the neshama of the mitzvah. Says the Rebbe of Zusha, the Yid that wishes that he could have given tzedakah but can't, he's providing the machshava, he's providing the kavana. That's the neshama of the mitzvah. The Yid who gives the mitzvah, who gives the money, is doing the guf of the mitzvah, but it's an empty act. Neither of them are a kadosh in and of themselves. But the Rebbe Shalom looks at Klal as one entity. Yisrael kadoshim, not me or you. Yisrael, the entity of Yisrael are kadoshim. My Maisa and your Machshava fuse together to create a perfect act. So it says in Sila Shalom in the Holocaust, there were many Yidden, they didn't know they were Yidden. They didn't know what Yiddishkeit was. Maybe they didn't even want to give up their life. But they gave up their life, they died. And other Yidden, maybe even survivors. You know how many survivors said, they should have taken me instead? I wish I could have been Zoicha. That Machshava of Kadoshim who gave up their life al Kiddush Hashem, of people who were survivors who wish they would have been taken, of people who weren't even there, and when they said the Kriya Shema, we know the Rashba says, it's Kedai to know the Rashba, it's codified in Shulchan Aruch. The Rashba writes, when you say Kriya Shema, you should say Kriya Shema, Be'ema, Uvayira, Uvareses, Uvazeya. I think this is a misunderstood halacha. Why should I tremble when I say Shema? What's so frightening about saying Shema? Says the Rashba, because you're supposed to imagine yourself that you're being moiser nefesh al kiddush Hashem. That if they would give you a person chas v'shalom skila, sreifa, hereg, v'chenek, you should imagine that you're undergoing that for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kriya Shema then is a very frightening experience. The kavana of a Pashat Yid, when they say Shema, who says Shema, be'ema, be'yira, be'reses, v'zeya, imagining they would be moiser nefesh al kiddush Hashem, fuses with the ritzicha of these Yidden, who now we all become Yisrael Kedoshim. Says in the Sivas Shalom, based on this Torah of the Rebbe of Zusha, it at least gives him some insight into what happened during that terrible Tekufa in Klal Yisrael. That all these survivors are elevated to the status of Kedoshim through the collective Kavana and Maisa of Knesset Yisrael. So this is a Gehoibena idea, a very profound concept that's taught from the Rebbe of Zusha, Pshat, in a Toisvis in Chulin, Yisrael Kedoshim Heim. And I think we have to say over the Maisa, Reb Zusha on his deathbed, he was Yoreh Demois. He said, Rebbe, why are you Yoreh Demois? You kamat, you taught Torah like Moshe Rabbeinu. You did chesed like Avram Avinu. What are you worried about? So what did Reb Zusha say? He said, I'm not worried in Shemayim they're going to ask me, why weren't you like Moshe? I'm not Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm not worried why in Shemayim that they're going to ask me, why didn't I do chesed like Avram Avinu? What I'm worried about is they're going to ask me, Zusha, why weren't you Zusha? Meaning everybody has such unlimited, untapped potential, and we have to actualize it and use it. And hopefully, from this trip where we encounter so many Gedolim who each specialize in so many different avenues in Avodas Hashem, it gives us a higher hasaga of what a human being could reach, and Be'ez Hashem, it should elevate what our own hasagas are, of what we could accomplish with our own lives, that the Rebbe Hashem gave us all tremendous koichos. And by looking up to these Gedolim, may the Rebbe Hashem give us siyata d'shmaya to tap in a little bit more to our own individual potential.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.